Vidhammer Fantasy.
Welcome back to Vidhammer. This is Spudlow, and in this video we'll be covering a first-round matchup at the Darkside Comics Tournament in Sarasota in June of 2012. This is a 2,150-point matchup between two Skaven armies using the 8th edition rules. The scenario being played is a battle line variation where an eclipse happens on a certain round that is rolled for at the start of the game. On that turn, no charges can be made, no shooting is allowed, and wizards can only target the unit they are in or enemies they're in base contact with, even with aura effects. One of the rats gets to go first and chooses the left side of the board. He starts with 45 slaves, while the other player puts down 33 clan rats, then 45 more slaves, and 45 more slaves, 50 clan rats with a warp fire thrower, 36 storm vermin with the razor banner, a hell pit abomination, 7 rat ogres, 40 plague monks with a plague furnace, 30 plague monks with a plague furnace, then 2 warp lightning cannons, as the right rat places his characters of a warlord on a war litter and chieftain BSB that go with the storm vermin, a grey seer that goes with his clan rats, a warlock engineer that goes with the slaves, and a plague priest on the plague furnace. The other rat places his characters of a warlock engineer in lower slaves, a grey seer and chieftain BSB and the clan rats, and a plague priest on the plague furnace. The left rat gets 3 warpstone tokens, while the right rat only gets 1. For spell generation, the left grey seer gets Scorch, Warp Lightning, Death Frenzy, and the dreaded 13th, while his plague priest gets Bless with Filth and Plague. On the right side, the plague priest is level 1 and gets Wither, while the engineer takes Warp Lightning, and the grey seer ends up with Death Frenzy, Scorch, Crack's Call, and the dreaded 13th. Chieftain on the right side has Skaven Brew, which gives the storm vermin the frenzy effect. One of the rats has to go first, unfortunately, so the one on the right starts moving up his line, with the storm vermin reforming to horde formation. Winds of Magic gives the right rat 11 power dice against 6 dispel dice. They use 3 dice to cast Warp Lightning with Irresistible Force on the clan rats, that's the clan rats on the left, for 5 wounds, and they lose 7 slaves and 1 power die in the backlash. They use 3 dice to attempt Scorch on the left side clan rats, but it gets dispelled. With their last 4 dice, they use a power scroll to attempt the dreaded 13th, but the left side rat pulls out his Scroll of Denial. For shooting, the engineer caps off his doom rocket towards the left side clan rats for 19 wounds and a panic check that they pass. The left side rat starts his turn aiming his A-bomb at the right side clan rats. The rest of the left side battle line sits and watches, believing the A-bomb has got it all covered. Winds of Magic and Channeling gives the left side 8 power dice against 8 dispel dice. They use a single die and 3 warpstone tokens to cast Scorch on the storm vermin with Irresistible Force for 4 wounds, and 4 dice are lost in the backlash. They use their last 2 dice to attempt Warp Lightning, but it gets dispelled. Big time. For shooting, the first Warp Lightning cannon shoots for the Grey Seer and overloads, but fires off of the table. The second shoots for the Plague Furnace and kills 7 Plague Monks and hits the Furnace for 5 wounds. A final act of retribution sees a Doom Rocket with a perfect hit on the right side slaves, roasting 25 to a golden brown. Finally, there's 3 warp musket shots from their characters into the clan rats for 2 more wounds, and the right side passes their panic check on the slaves. They remember to look up at the sky at this point and see that the eclipse will occur on the 3rd turn. The second turn starts with thoughts of charging, but the storm vermin have become too big around the middle, much like myself in that regard, so they content themselves to reposition and complain. For magic, after channels, the right side gets 12 power dice against 7 dispel dice. They use 3 dice for Warp Lightning against the left side clan rats for 4 wounds, then 3 dice for Scorch, which gets dispelled with 2, then their 6 remaining dice for the dreaded 13th, but the horned rat doesn't approve. For the left side's turn, the Plague Monks charge the slaves, who run, like rats, and the monks fail to charge, moving 6. For compulsory moves, the A-bomb lands on the Rat Ogres as their only other movement. Winds of Magic gives the left side 5 power dice against 4 dispel dice. They use all 5 dice to attempt Plague on the Clan Rats, but it gets dispelled with a scroll. In shooting, the lower cannon shoots for the right side Clan Rats for 7 wounds, and the upper one hits for 4 more. 3 warp muskets take out 1 storm vermin, and the Clan Rats pass their panic check. For combat, the A-bomb causes a wound in impact hits, then the Rat Ogres hit back for 7 wounds, and only 2 get saved. So close, and yet so far. The A-bomb causes 3 initiative tests that cause 1 wound, and it gets 8 more in regular attacks. The Rat Ogres lose the combat, but stay steadfast with a single rank and pass their break test. On the 3rd turn, the eclipse begins, prohibiting charging, shooting, and offensive casting. The right rats start out having their slaves rally, and they maneuver their remaining units, and somehow the slaves find a way to move forward. Winds of Magic gets bypassed for convenience, and they jump back into their combat. The Rat Ogres have lost their frenzy, but they pass their fear check. They hit the A-bomb for a single wound that gets saved, and the Packmaster even gets 1, but it gets saved. The Rat Ogres take 3 wounds, lose their steadfast, and get mashed into rat pies. On the left rat's turn, the eclipse continues, much to the chagrin of the Plague Monks. A happy A-bomb heads for the Clan Rats, the Warp Fire Thrower steps up to the Storm Vermin, and the slaves brace for impact, on both sides. In the magic phase, the Horned Rat mocks the left side by giving them 12 power dice against 6 dispel dice. They use 3 dice to cast Bless with Filth on their Plague Monks, and they don't even bother with the rest. With no shooting or close combat, they move into the 4th turn, where the eclipse ends and nasty behavior begins. The right-wing rats finish their tea and charge the Warp Fire Thrower with their Storm Vermin. As their only offensive action, the Warp Fire team runs north and explodes. With no remaining target, the Storm Vermin fail their charge and run 5 inches. The right side Plague Monks, that are now on the left side, charge the upper slaves as the right side player finds a use for his own slaves and parks the poor bastards in front of a meat grinder, but not until the engineer bravely excuses himself. Winds of Magic gives the right rat 12 power dice against 6 dispel dice. They start with 3 dice for Warp Lightning and get 8 wounds, then 3 dice for an Irresistible Scorch that gets 6 more, as well as 3 friendlies and a power die in the backlash. The Grey Seer gnaws on his only Warpstone token and frowns as his attempt at the dreaded 13th fails, but quickly allows a smile as the opposing Clan Rats fail their panic and run. In close combat, the Furnace gets 3 impact wounds, then 1 monk and 1 slave get lost in the fog. The slave Paw Leader challenges the Plague Priest and gets ritualistically minced. The slaves put all of their attacks on the Plague Furnace, but aren't able to wound, as the monks use their Plague Banner and take out 11, and the Wrecker gets 4 more. Although steadfast, with the general fleeing, they fail their break test and explode as the Plague Monks overrun into the cannon. On the left side's turn, the lower slaves charge the lone engineer, who again shows his mettle by running away, and even inducing a panic check in the Clan Rats, but they pass. The Plague Furnace rolls over the slaves, the A-bomb drops one on the right side Clan Rats, and the left side Clan Rats continue their valiant flee maneuver off of the board. For magic, the left side rats get 10 power dice against 7 dispel dice. As their only spell, they use 4 dice for Bless with Filth on the Plague Monks. In shooting, a Warpstone musket takes out a single Storm Vermin, and a cannon gets 4 more. For close combat, the right side's Plague Furnace gets an impact hit on the cannon, while the Fog Effect finishes it off along with 3 Plague Monks, and they make their overrun distance to the lower slaves. In the other combat, the left side's Furnace gets 3 impact wounds, and 2 slaves get lost in the fog. The Plague Priest takes out 3 slaves who fail to wound and will themselves to death as the monks overrun 7. In the final combat, the A-bomb drops again for 5 impact wounds, then the clan rats fail their fear check and fail to wound, as the bomb does 6 more in normal attacks and 3 with a thunderstomp, taking away their final rank. The clan rats fail their break test and run 11, but the A-bomb still catches them and kills off 4 friendly plague monks just for spite. The players make a quick run of the 5th turn, rolling for the slave's break test and the resultant casualties, and moving the other units before the A-bomb makes a final dash at the storm vermin before they end the game. The Skaven won and lost, so I guess it's a good day for everyone. Thanks for watching this battle report. Be sure and check back for new videos each week. Do us a favor and subscribe, like the video if you enjoy this one, and feel free to send us a message if you have any tactics or matchups you'd like to see. Till next time, for the Vidhammer crew, keep fighting.